Alberta bound and deja vu all over again. Eric is the irresistible force. Calgary's D, the unmovable object. This should be interesting. Pless and the Rucking team hope to do some damage today. So who was that guy dressed like Flutie last week? He'll have to rebound. Stewart picked up the slack, and so did Coleman and the D. But it's a notch higher today. This is too good to be true. Somebody pinch me and let's play ball.
Calgary Stampeders, Scott, won the toss. They deferred their choice to the second half. As a result, they'll be kicking off. This man, Eric Blunt, could play a key role in the Grey Cup hopes of the Edmonton Eskimos. He takes the ball at the 15-yard line. And Blunt brings it back to the 37, where he's stopped by Alondra Johnson. That was a 60-yard kickoff, 22 yards on the return. Kerwin Bell took a pounding last week against the BC Lions in the Northern Division semifinal, but he stood in there, and he's expected to operate in much the same fashion today. He's not a mobile quarterback. He'll take a lot of punishment, but he'll hang on to the ball to the very last instant before throwing.
It's imperative today that he doesn't hang on to it for very long if Edmonton is hoping to be successful.
Fake inside, a little swing pass to Blunt, and Blunt will pick up about 3 yards before being tripped as he got to the 40-yard line. Pope was in to make the tackle. Blake Dermott is the veteran on the offensive line, and he might have his hands full this afternoon with Marvin Pope. Eric Blunt, the running back who makes a major contribution as a running back, as a pass receiver, and on special teams. As I said earlier, he could be the key to Edmonton fortunes this afternoon. It's 2nd and 7 for the Eskimos. Bell fumbles the exchange from center. There's a pile-up. And who got it back? I believe Kerwin Bell was fortunate that he was able to scoop the ball away from in front of a couple of hard-charging Stampeders. But the Edmonton Eskimos are 2 and out in their first offensive series.
Early game jitters right now. Kerwin Bell knows that when he takes the snap from under the center, he has to get depth very quickly. He just pulled out before he really had good control of the ball. Fortunate for Edmonton, he was able to recover his own fumble.
Glenn Harper stands back at his own 23-yard line for this 3rd down punt. Good high kick that is going to be taken by Coleman at the 22-yard line. He was the star of the semifinal win over the Hamilton Ticats with 2 interception returns for touchdowns. He is also a specialist on punt return teams. And not unexpectedly, Doug Flutie, the starting quarterback for the Stampeders. He was hurt last week when he left the field. He was booed as he went to the dressing room after throwing 4 first-half interceptions.
This was a different kind of pain for Doug Flutie. It's an emotional pain. It's a heartfelt pain of somebody that has been so successful, the golden boy in this league so far, getting booed as he left the playing field.
John Huffnagel, the offensive coordinator, said he has never seen Flutie work as hard in getting ready for a game as he did for this one. The pass complete to Sapunjas. Darian Hagan came out to make the tackle, a gain of about 3 yards. Bruce Beaton might be the vulnerable spot along the offensive line if the Stampeders do have one up front. He has played there all year in place of the injured Bruce Covington. Tyrone Williams moves into the wide receiver position, replacing the injured Pee Wee Smith. He was hurt last week against Hamilton.
Tyrone Williams is a guy that has played himself into a starting role with the injury to Pee Wee. He has played in big games before, and he is a big play type of receiver.
Flutie throws, completes the pass. This will be close to a first down to Pitts. On the first 2 offensive plays, the Stampeders, as they have done most of the season, use the slot backs in looking for a first down. It will be close.
Alan Pitt does a good job. He comes down, reads the coverage of the Eskimos, allows himself to turn face up to Doug Flutie, makes himself a big target, picks up the first down.
For the first time ever this year, 2 receivers on the same team with better than 100 catches, Sapunjas and Pitts. And Pitts, with the reception, picks up just a little more than 5 yards, and it is a Calgary first down. This is the way the Eskimos line up defensively. Leroy Blue on the season had 10 quarterback sacks. He's expected to play a big role this afternoon. Larry Ruck, number 2 all-time in tackles, playing the middle linebacking position. Tony Stewart, who ran for better than 100 yards last week against the Hamilton Ticats, carries for a couple of yards, stopped by Tony Woods.
2nd and 7.
And in the secondary, Glenn Rogers was ejected when the two teams met here on Labor Day, and that caused a lot of difficulty for the Eskimos. They had to make defensive adjustmts.
Big change in the Edmonton secondary. Quickly, Tony Woods goes out. Cavis Reed, the DI, comes in. 7 defensive backs for Edmonton.
And here comes the blitz. Flutie read it, got it away to Pitts. And Pitts is a first down up at the 52-yard line.
Just quickly, number 24 is Cavis Reed, the DI. He came into the backfield. Basically, and then they come with the blitz. Doug Flutie sees it. Alan Pitts again. He fronts up in front of Darian Hagan, makes himself a very big target. An excellent reception, picks up the first down.
If there was one guy they thought would have a big game this afternoon, it's Alan Pitts. He missed the final 3 games of regular season play because of a viral infection and a hamstring problem. The pass, little swing pass to Sapunjas, and Sapunjas picks up maybe a yard, maybe 2. You know, they talk about Calgary and the ground game, the fact they don't run the ball that much. Basically, their ground game is the short passing attack with the 2 slot backs.
Exactly right. They like to come out and see if they can get maybe 4, 5, 6 yards on first down, get themselves in a position to be 2nd and 3, 2nd and 4. It opens up the huge repertoire of plays that Doug Flutie possesses.
This is a different Doug Flutie today than we saw against Hamilton. He is 4 for 4. He had 4 interceptions in the first half against Hamilton. Looking to the sidelines for Terry Vaughn. He makes the catch, trying to get away from Wilkerson. And Hagan comes over to make the tackle, but it's a first down, Calgary.
Now, this is going to be the kind of play that Doug Flutie will see all day long. Edmonton feels that they will force him to throw the wide side out, test the strength of his arm. Now, when he's tested, look what big Doug Flutie does. He comes up with the play. Terry Vaughn comes up with the reception. And Calgary keeps possession and moves this ball against a tough Edmonton defense.
I'm saying big Doug Flutie is a big stretch.
Hey,
175.
Hey, he's the man. He's the man.
I know what you meant, Cap. First and 10, Calgary from the 43. The handoff to Stewart. He gets one block, cuts back inside. And as he tried to go wide, he was caught at the 35 by Darian Hagan.
Tony Stewart is a back that is used very seldom with Doug Flutie because he does like to throw the ball initially on first down. But when he runs, you catch some people off guard. Tony Stewart, excellent feet, good balance, some poor tackling by Edmonton allows Tony Stewart to pick up about 8.5 yards.
Only 2 100-yard rushing games this season, one of them in the semifinal win over the Hamilton Ticats, the other against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. 2nd and 2 for Calgary. Hand off to Stewart, and he'll get the first down. He took a couple of people with him inside the 30-yard line. Willie Pless was one of those who came over to make the tackle, but not before the Calgary Stampeders picked up yet another first down. 2 different versions. When Doug Flutie is in there, he hasn't used, as I said, Tony Stewart very much. Jeff Garcia has used him. Last week, Tony Stewart, 16 carries, 113 yards, 1 touchdown. One of the reasons that Flutie doesn't use Stewart as much is he runs the hurry-up offense more than Jeff Garcia.
First and 10 from the Eskimo 30.
Stampeder coaching staff has to be pleased with the way this drive is being put together by Doug Flutie, and now Flutie is going to run himself. He'll try and get a first down as he dives through to the 20-yard line. How quickly fans can change their view of an athlete. Last week they were booing Doug Flutie. Now they're cheering every move. Here's what happens when Doug Flutie can ad-lib if a play doesn't work. Screen pass is set up to Tony Stewart. Inside, he tries to look. It's covered by the Edmonton Eskimos. They don't contain him, and Doug Flutie shows that great athletic ability and speed, gets outside, and makes something happen on his own. Ron Lancaster felt this would be a very close, a very physical football game. And right now, he is watching the Stampeders move the ball. This drive has consumed a lot of time, and it is moving ever closer to the goal line as Flutie keeps and should have the first down across the 20-yard line. On
John, wouldn't you say is a very different Doug Flutie, the opening series of this game, than what we saw last week against Hamilton, when it seemed like he needed to come out and maybe he was taking it on himself, wanted to make something big happen in a dramatic fashion. This time, Doug Flutie's very, very methodical about the way he's been running the offense, his play selection, and he's getting great production.
Well, another of the problems he had last week against Hamilton, the Stampeders did not play the Ticats during the regular season, and he saw some different looks from Hamilton, something that he was not at all familiar with.
Don Southern put in a special defense to come in here, something that had not been ever seen on any of the videotapes that Calgary was looking at in their scouting reports, and it did confuse Doug Flutie to a great extent, to the tune of 4 interceptions.
Stampeders have used up over 6 minutes of the clock on this opening offensive series. Flutie rolls to his left. Flutie's in trouble now, and down he goes. He'll be sacked back at the 24-yard line. Benny Goods, who led the Eskimos in sacks during the regular season, was able to contain Doug Flutie.
Well, this is going to be a Doug Flutie sprint out sweep all the way by itself. As soon as he comes out from the under the center, he's going to tuck the ball under his arms. Benny Good does a great job. Willie Pless is out there. Larry Ruck is out there. These are two great defenses you're going to see on both sides of the ball. Great speed in pursuing to make the tackle.
Back at the 24, it is 2nd and 14 for Calgary as Flutie operates out of the shotgun. Flutie looks over the middle. The pass is complete to Vince Danielson, and he will have a first down inside the 10-yard line.
Vince Danielson coming into this game, 55 catches, has really earned the respect of both the quarterbacks. Comes underneath the coverage, is able to break away, create some cushion between he and Darian Hagan. Man on man, picks up big yardage, is measuring for the first down.
I said they had it kept.
Hey, I don't know why they question you. I never do.
Well, they rule that he touched down between the 9 and the 10-yard line, and he had just enough for another Calgary first down. Vince Danielson goes to the bench. They utilize Danielson, the sophomore out of the University of British Columbia, in many key situations, and perhaps none keyer than on 2nd down as he picked up the first down. Flutie fakes the toss. Flutie looks into the end zone, and he overthrows Alan Pitts. There's also a penalty flag.
Darian Hagan, pass interference on Alan Pitts.
Forward pass interference. Edmonton number 4 in the end zone. First down.
Take a look right here now. Alan Pitts gets Darian Hagan to cross his ankles and legs over just to break out to the corner, and as soon as Hagan knows that he's beaten, he grabs Alan Pitts. Smart play, or else he could have been an easy 6 points. Now they get to line it up again. At least the defense of Edmonton gets a chance to try to stop him from the 1-yard line as opposed to giving up the easy pitch and catch for the touchdown.
This will be 1st and goal from the 1. Flutie gives to Stewart, touchdown. Well, some of the skeptics at McMahon Stadium would have to be encouraged by the methodical way the Calgary Stampeders put together their first offensive series.
Precision, calm, cool, collected. This is the kind of offense that we have seen Calgary Stampeders have through the course of the 95 season.
14 plays to travel 81 yards, and they used up 8:02 with Stewart putting the ball into the end zone, and Mark McLaughlin will attempt the point after. And the Stampeders have a 7-0 lead. 5:18 remains in the opening quarter. We'll be back with the Calgary kickoff after this. All the time Doug Flutie spent viewing film this week obviously paid off. 14 plays, 81 yards for the opening touchdown scored by Tony Stewart.
Pull out by Denny Chronopoulos, the guard, to G out. No force on the outside by Glenn Rogers Jr. and Tony Stewart. Great leg strength, finds the open, breaks to the outside, gets the head down. Touchdown, Calgary.
5:18 remaining in the opening quarter as Mark McLaughlin kicks off. Blunt will take the ball at the 20-yard line. Blunt looking for a block. cuts it back into the middle and is brought down at the 38 by Jackie Kellogg. A 55-yard kickoff, 18 yards on the return. It was extremely cold in Calgary earlier in the week, and with the snow that fell in this foothills city, there were concerns that it might be as bad weather-wise as it was in 1993. Wally Buono was saying never has he experienced conditions as difficult as they were for the 1993 final.
He played in some very, very cold games and has coached in some cold games, but he did say that game was as cold as he had ever seen. He felt sorry for the players.
Kerwin Bell sends 3 receivers wide to the left, has a problem with the exchange from center. The ball is still loose, and Calgary has got it. Gonzalo Floyd coming up with the loose football. The second time that Bell has had difficulties with the exchange from center. On the first offensive series, he was tucked in behind center Rod Connup. This one he just failed to handle, and Gonzalo Floyd with a huge turnover for the Stampeders at the 30-yard line.
It looked like Bell was looking downfield and just did not keep his eyes on the ball. As Rod Connup centered it about knee level, it was a good snap.
Tony Stewart on the first down play will only get a couple of yards. Glenn Rogers Jr. was in on the stop for Edmonton. 4:29 remaining in the opening quarter. Taking advantage of turnovers is something that both coaches stressed would be important. And Ron Lancaster's Edmonton Eskimos led the league this year in the takeaway giveaway category.
They really did. It was just an incredible plus 38 in the takeaway giveaway. And that is something not has any other team in the CFL gotten better except the 81 Edmonton Eskimos at plus 41.
Flirty is still perfect. His 7th consecutive completion into the hands of David Sapunjas.
Under pressure, under fire, and really under the weight of Tony Woods as he stands in the pocket. He knows that he's going to get hit, but he allows this man, MVP candidate, outstanding Canadian candidate, Dave Sapunjas, to work down into the middle of this Edmonton defense, find the open area. Doug Flutie delivers it on the money.
Well, Sapunjas will be in Regina during Grey Cup week as a double nominee for individual excellence. He's hoping that he takes 36 other players with him. Good fake, little swing pass to Sean Daniels, and Sean Daniels is going to be close to a first down. He's about a yard shy, it would appear. Tripped up by Singor Mobley.
Sean Daniels only caught 6 passes through the course of the 95 season. Very little guy that they've not paid a lot of attention to. Sean Daniels is right over here. He's going to make the block. As Doug Flutie comes out, all it is a counter boot, fakes it, the block is made, then he just slips out into the flat, forgotten about, picks up good yardage.
This was Daniels' best ever season. He scored 4 touchdowns, and he has the Stampeders in scoring position again. Stewart, the ball carrier, inside the 5-yard line. This should be another Calgary first down.
Would have had a chance. We were sitting here talking to Bruce Covington before the game, and I said, you know something, you know what I like about your offense particularly? I said, you have a very physical offensive line. These guys will really get after you, and they are tough. They'll throw you around, they'll scream at you, they'll trash talk, but more importantly, they will make good, solid blocks, and this is what we're seeing right now in the first quarter of this game.
Covington has missed the entire season. Bruce Beaton has been his replacement, and he has played well so far in this opening quarter. Flutie fakes the toss. Now he rolls to his left, looks into the end zone. Jump ball, and it's incomplete. Intended for Pitts, and Glenn Rogers Jr. had good position on him with 1:49 remaining in the opening quarter.
Excellent block. This time he's going to come out. Dave Sapunjas kind of cracks back. We're going to see a kind of counter, and he's going to bootleg back out. Sapunjas comes in and takes out Larry Ruck, buys a little extra time for Doug Flutie, gives some directions, can't get his body placed in his heels as you can see, he's ducking away from the throw, doesn't get quite enough on it. Alan Pitts almost comes up with the Houdini catch.
Sapunjas on Ruck, the two candidates for the Outstanding Canadian award in the CFL this year. Out of the shotgun, Flutie with time into the end zone, incomplete. In the back of the end zone, he was looking for Dave Sapunjas. So the Eskimos have to be quite satisfied that they were able to stall the Calgary attack and force them into a field goal attempt with 1:26 remaining in this opening quarter after the fumble by Bell was lost.
Kind of a victory for the Edmonton defense to be able to stop Calgary and force them into this field goal attempt and not give up the major score.
Mark McLaughlin had 5 consecutive seasons of 200 or more points. Last year he missed by a single point. Bounced back this year with another 200-point season. And he makes it a 10-0 football game. The Calgary Stampeders leading the Eskimos with 1:10 left in the opening quarter.
That was a good job early on by Coach Huffnagel, creating the high percentage passes for Doug and helping him get a rhythm early in the game, get his confidence back.
Could be a long day for the Eskimos if Calgary's strong offensively, Ken.
Well, Edmonton needs to answer here. It'll be key for them to come back and get some points right now.
And Eric Blunt will attempt to give them field position, and he brings it back to the 38-yard line, tackled there by Greg Frères. The Eskimos have self-destructed on their last 2 possessions, 2 fumbles by quarterback Kerwin Bell. Joe Paopao, the Eskimo offensive coordinator, he was talking about Kerwin Bell, saying it wasn't until the Winnipeg game where they won 64-10 that the Eskimos really decided on who their #1 quarterback was going to be.
Well, it was up for grabs, and both of those guys were competing for it. Kerwin Bell established himself, and this Edmonton offense has great confidence in him.
Hand off to Michael Souls, and this is a tough Calgary defensive unit to try and run against. They were #1 in the league this year against the rush. Matt Finlay, the middle linebacker, was one of those involved in the stop.
Kerwin Bell had made the comment that he said that now as an offense, we understand what it takes to win a big game against a great defense. As opposed to in the mid-season, we were just there trying to understand what we were doing and who we were going to line up. And they are really being tested today.
Well, there were people in the Edmonton organization at the start of the year really didn't think the team had a great deal of hope in advancing to the conference championship. Kerwin Bell is in trouble, stays on his feet, he escapes the initial pressure, tried to dump it off to Souls. It was a sidearm throw, and again, it's 2 and out for the Eskimos.
This is what you're going to find. Kerwin Bell is going to set up between the tackles. The Calgary defense knows that. Everybody knows that. They pin their ears. Good push and twist up top by Stu Laird and Gonzalo Floyd. Pope comes off of the corner. Will Johnson is there also.
It's amazing, Kep, that Bell was able to escape that tree.
Well, he was. I mean, he's one of those kind of guys. He's not very fleet-footed, but somehow he can make the people miss him up close. He's not going to run away from anybody.
Harper's 3rd down punt in what should be the last play of the opening quarter. Coleman fields it. Coleman loses the ball. It's still free. The Eskimos going after it, and they've got it. Souls recovers and takes it out of bounds at about the 8-yard line.
We talked about earlier about this game that turnovers were going to be key. Early turnover by Kerwin Bell. Now this turnover by Coleman.
Well, this turnover by Coleman could prove to be much more serious than the earlier miscue by Kerwin Bell. We'll be back after this. Well, Cap, when you totally dominate a team for 14 minutes and 59 seconds, you don't like to give them a golden opportunity to get back in the football game, as Marvin Coleman just did.
Well, Marvin Coleman just did not get the handle on the ball, but the guy that did was Michael Souls. A big turnover gives Edmonton possession deep in Calgary territory.
At the 8-yard line, it's 1st and goal for the Eskimos. Swing pass to Blunt. Blunt being pursued by Pope, cuts back. And he got to the line of scrimmage and perhaps just a little more. Zizakovic came over to make the tackle, but look at the time of possession. 12 minutes for Calgary in the first quarter, -5 yards offensively for the Edmonton Eskimos, and that pretty much tells the story of the first quarter of this championship game.
You know, the thing is, you look at the time, you look at the turnovers. Again, defenses are keeping this game close. 10-0 right now for the Calgary Stampeders.
Matt Finlay calling the defensive play for the Calgary Stampeders. 2nd and goal from the 8 in the corner of the end zone. No good. Shalon Baker made the catch, but he was out of bounds. Well, Coleman may have atoned for the miscue because he was defending against the rookie Shalon Baker and did a good job in preventing him from making the catch in the field of play.
Well, I've had an opportunity to be around this Calgary team a lot through the course of the '95 season, and they are going to win together and they are going to lose together. Marvin Coleman picked off 2 passes last week, one for 95, one for 56, took them both into the end zone. Marvin Coleman is the guy that they know they can count on to get the job done.
Sean Fleming, who had tied a CFL record last week with 6 field goals against the BC Lions, saw that record stricken from the books today with the performance down in Baltimore by Carlos Huerta, but he puts the Edmonton Eskimos on the board with a field goal with 13:44 remaining in the first half. It's not just the players who are showing emotion this afternoon. Defensive coordinator Frank Spaziani was really pumped at the bench as the players came off after holding the Eskimos to a field goal when they had it 1st and goal from the 8-yard line.
This is a great defense that loves to be challenged, and when they rise up to that challenge, and in that case, they won the battle against Edmonton.
Footy throws deep, looking for Vaughn. He's got it. A foot race to the end zone. Wilkerson holds him down at the 8.
All right, Whit, put to rest all of this kind of talk that Doug Flutie does not have the arm strength anymore, because he showed no ill effects of that operation in that long pass, 67 yards to Terry Vaughn.
Very quickly, the Stampeders come right back, and you're absolutely right, Dan. No questioning Flutie's arm strength on this 67-yard toss to Vaughn.
Vaughn showed great speed as he's able to split the seam, get inside of Wilkerson, and behind the safety, Trent Brown, who got caught looking in the backfield. Great pass, great reception by Terry Vaughn.
Calgary noted for its explosive offense. They are right back in scoring position. Tony Stewart tries to get closer to the goal line, but won't get beyond the 5. That's one thing Frank Spaziani was saying when we visited with him. He said, both defenses are going to knock heads in this football game, but our big asset is that we're explosive offensively, and no truer words than the pass from Flutie to Terry Vaughn.
They have so many weapons to be explosive with, too, and it makes it extremely tough on the defense. You don't have a real keen perception to who you need to double coverage. In that case, Terry Vaughn got the single coverage, beat his man one-on-one.
2nd and goal. Flutie operates out of the shotgun. Flutie into the end zone. The man the pass was intended for, Alan Pitts, went down, and he is protesting, claiming there should have been a penalty flag. Glenn Rogers was defending against him, but there was no call. And Pitts is still upset.
He's quite upset about it, and he may have good reason. I don't know if we're going to be able to see if there was contact on the replay if we get one, but as soon as Alan Pitt was starting to make his break, it almost looked like he tripped over the turf. Just at the top of your screen, they both tripped. Little hand, that's exactly right. The Edmonton defender reached out, grabbed with the left hand.
McLaughlin with the field goal attempted. It's good, and that restores the Stampeders' 10-point lead. 11:38 is the time remaining in the first half in the Northern Division final here at McMahon Stadium. 11:38 remaining in the first half. Calgary in front by a score of 13-3. They thought they were going to get more after Flutie set opened things up with a 67-yard strike to Vaughn. But the pass into the end zone intended for Pitts failed to click, and they had to settle for a McLaughlin field goal. Now it's 1st and 10 Edmonton from the 35-yard line. 4 receivers wide to the right. Bell looks over the middle, and the pass is complete to Eddie Brown. And this will be a 1st down Edmonton. Gerald Vaughn made the tackle.
Let's go back with to the play in the end zone. This is Darian Hagan. It's right here. Pitts is going to come off this line, make the break to the post. Now you be the judge. As soon as he makes the break, he gets good position inside. Hagan's left hand comes out, grabs him from behind, takes him down. No call.
Back to the live action, and taken down is Eric Blunt by Marvin Pope. The previous pass to Eddie Brown gave the Eskimos their initial 1st down of the football game.
It's important that Eddie Brown comes out and has a big day today. He needs to make himself respected as a threat, as a deep receiver, as somebody that they really have to pay attention to. If not, the Calgary defense will have a much easier day defending against the pass.
2nd and 12, Bell looks over the middle. There's the pass complete to Mazzoli, and Mazzoli will be very close to a 1st down, taken down by Kenton Leonard. Mazzoli was a non-factor really in last week's semifinal win over the BC Lions, but he makes a key reception in this 2nd quarter here against Calgary. 10:16 remaining in the half. 13-3. The Stampeders lead it. The Eskimos are going after it on 3rd and less than 1. Bell will keep. He drives straight ahead. There is also a penalty flag on the play.
Side. Defensive line lined up to offside. 1st down.
Well, it wasn't just one. The entire D-line was offside and trying to stop the Eskimos on the 3rd down gamble.
That's exactly. He saw exactly what I saw. All 4 of them, and they figured out if they line up in the same line, parallel across, maybe they won't call any of us.
1st and 10 from the 44-yard line. 3 receivers wide to the right. Bell looks in that direction. Mazzoli makes the catch, and then Mazzoli is caught at the 40-yard line by Al Jordan.
I got one, Glenn.
Mazzoli and Shalon Baker, the 2,000-yard receivers for the Eskimos this year. This afternoon, 5 1,000-yard receivers on the same field. 3 of them, of course, with Calgary, Sapunjas Pitts, and Terry Vaughn. Joe Paupau, an offensive coordinator for the Eskimos, who has gained an awful lot of respect throughout the league for the work he has done with this Edmonton team. Bell was looking for Baker, and Baker, only 5'5", went up about another 2 or 3 feet to try to make the throw, but it was still too high, and Bell is unhappy with himself for missing Baker when he had the wide out open.
Big matchup today. Will Johnson against Blake Dermott. It forces the veteran Dermott of 13 years to stand in the pocket, make a quick set, get into the face of Will Johnson, and move your feet. That's very important, and it will be a tremendous test in the course of this game for Blake Dermott against that tough defensive end.
Harper stands at the 54-yard line for this 3rd down punt. Coleman, the lone man back. Excellent kick by Harper. It's going to sail over the head of Coleman. Coleman will field it in the end zone, and he's going to concede the single point. 8:47 remains in the half.
Glenn Harper with a 54-yard punt single.
Doug Flutie out of the 35-yard line, throws complete to Pitts, and Pitts appears to be about a yard shy of a 1st down. Actually, they'll rule that he stepped out of bounds back at the 42-yard line, so it will be 2nd and 3 Calgary.
Here's where a good mismatch comes. Doug Flutie likes to come out that naked bootleg, throws the ball out there. Alan Pitts at 6'4" against Darian Hagan at 5'9". Pitts is able to go up, get his body between he and the defender. Great concentration on lifting the ball in.
2nd and 3 as Flutie moves in behind the center, Jamie Crysdale. 3 receivers to the left. Sean Daniels in motion that way. The handoff to Stewart, and Stewart will get a 1st down as he barges through to the 52. Larry Ruck, the middle linebacker, stopped Tony Stewart, but not before he had the first down. Doug Flutie looking over to the bench to offensive coordinator John Hufnagel. How important a role does John Hufnagel play in the Stampeders scheme? Dave Sapunjas, I think, put it best. He said, half of our success is because of the players. The other half is because of John Hufnagel. Pass is complete to Sapunjas, and as he dives forward, he should have another first down.
Well, that half the success by the players when you have guys like David Sapunjas, Alan Pitts, Terry Vaughn, Pee Wee Smith. Those guys get the job done for you, and they can make you look good, both as a quarterback and as a coach. Watch how Sponge makes the catch. Looks he's able to duck underneath the tackle of Darian Hagan, keeps his feet driving a bit, and comes up with the first down.
First and 10. The ball is at the 48 of the Eskimos. 6:55 remaining in the first half. 13-3, Calgary leads. Terry Vaughn lines up wide to the right. Pitts and Sapunjas also come out right. Flutie looks over the middle, completes the pass to Williams, and Williams takes it down inside the 15-yard line. Tyrone Williams drawing the starting assignment as the result of the injury to Pee Wee Smith, and he comes up with a 36-yard gain.
Tyrone Williams only caught 6 passes through the course of the 95 season. Quick post, he's a lone receiver on the backside, the short side of the field. He's able to get inside of Robert Holland. Great timing throw by Doug Flutie. Caught him right in stride, takes it down to about the 14-yard line.
Out of Western Ontario, and Wally Buono was saying they have a much better receiver now than when they initially drafted him because of the NFL experience he had. Oh, this one was almost picked off by Wilkerson at the goal line. 13-4, the Stampeders lead the Eskimos with 5:59 remaining in the first half.
Doug Flutie wants to come out again. He wants to throw that little counter reverse pass coming out. Thinks that Alan Pitts is going to the flat on the out route. Wilkerson comes off of the coverage of Williams and almost comes up with a big pick.
Stampeders have been successful on 9 of 11 second down conversions. They're facing second down again. Flutie on the quarterback draw. Flutie now going to the outside, and he's tripped up. A saving tackle over on the far side of the field as Doug Flutie was looking for a first down, and he is going to be stopped about 4 yards short.
One of the weapons, again, that Doug Flutie possesses is that great ability to scramble. He takes it on himself, comes back on the quarterback draw, 2 steps back to try to get the defenders and the linebackers running out of there. Now he just gets behind the offensive lineman, runs to the open spot, tries to make a big effort to pick up the first down, but a saving tackle right at the last minute by Holland is able to get out and trip Doug Flutie up.
Mark McLaughlin will attempt a field goal from the 16-yard line with 5:13 remaining in the half. Movement at the line of scrimmage, and a penalty flag as McLaughlin splits the uprights, but if it's an offside call against the Eskimos, it will keep the Stampeder drive alive.
A cardinal sin that was just committed by the Edmonton defense. Do not be offsides in a field goal situation this close. Sit down, don't care, don't listen to the count, watch the ball. You're not going to go anywhere. It's Benny Goods in the middle, gets caught in the neutral zone. The ball is snapped and kicked. Now the decision comes to Wally Buono and the Calgary Stampeders.
Offside. Edmonton number 40. First down.
Well, you don't want to give a team a second opportunity, and with that mental error, the Edmonton Eskimos have provided the Stampeders with a golden opportunity from inside the 5.
Both these teams last week were incredible in the number of penalties that they take, or they didn't take, as a matter of fact, I should say. Edmonton only had 3 penalties through the course of the game. Calgary only 1 against Hamilton.
First and goal from inside the 5-yard line. 5:06 remaining in the first half. 13-4, the Stampeders lead. Flutie looks into the end zone. Touchdown. Dave Sapunjas just inside the goal line. And how costly the offside call may prove to be in the outcome of this football game. In their last two games at McMahon Stadium, the Stampeders had difficulties putting the ball into the end zone. They only scored one touchdown in their final regular season game against Saskatchewan and the semifinal game against Hamilton. This afternoon, with Sapunjas on the receiving end of the Flutie throw, they now have their second TD of the day, and Mark McLaughlin with the point after makes it a 20-4 football game. Calgary leading Edmonton. 4:42 remaining in the half, and we'll be back with the Calgary kickoff. This has been a career season for David Sapunjas. 111 catches, 1,655 yards. But he was saying how little this season would mean unless the Stampeders were able to go to the Grey Cup.
Well, they've got such a weight on their shoulders to override what has happened to them in the last two Western Finals.
Eric Blunt takes the ball at the 20-yard line. Blunt looking for some blocking help, but at the 30-yard line, he is caught by Gerald Vaughn.
With the special teams tackle on the Eskimos.
All right, Don, comment now from Kent Austin. Kent, it's pretty clear Eric Blunt's not going to be able to run against the Calgary defense. Is it now up to Kerwin Bell to try and save the day for the Eskimos and get them back in it?
Well, down 17 points, and in two previous meetings, they haven't had any success running the ball. I think Curran's got to step up his play right now, and especially try to take this drive down for a major, not just a field goal.
How about that drop by Wilkerson? That was key for you.
Really, really big. It's now 20-4. He may have had an opportunity to return that interception all the way for a touchdown. That would have made it 13-11.
First and 10 from the 31-yard line. The fake inside. Now Bell trying to dump it off. It's incomplete.
But Kerwin Bell is a timing passer. He's a methodical he's a classic drop back pocket passer. Take your 3-step, take your 5-step, set up, plan, look for your receiver, and then throw the ball. What he does, he's terrible when he gets chased out of the pocket and he has to move his feet and then try to find an open receiver. He just doesn't quite possess the athleticism that he needs to do to get it done. Look at the conversion. Second and long conversion, 0 for 6 for Edmonton.
Kerwin Bell looking over the middle, 0 for 7 on second down conversions. He was looking for Mazzoli, and Gerald Vaughn did an excellent job of defending against him.
Ron Lancaster said yesterday when we had a chance to sit down and talk with him, he says, the one thing I don't want to do tomorrow is to get in a shooting match with the Calgary Stampeders. He says, because we just do not have as big of guns as the Calgary Stampeders have.
And he also said he didn't want Calgary operating on a short field most of the day. And it looks as though the Stampeders are going to get the ball back in excellent field position once again.
Wally Boney mentioned the keys to the game: turnovers, field position, and penalties.
A fake on the third down, but the catch was made out of bounds. Trent Brown made the catch, but was out of bounds on a third down gamble by the Eskimos with 3:38 remaining in the first half. Oh boy, when you execute a bit of trickery and then the catch is made, but you're out of bounds deep in your own zone, that could be the ball game.
Take a look, the ball gets hung out, the catch is made, but the feet clearly out of bounds. I asked Ron Lancaster, I said, are we going to look for any kind of fakes or anything like that? He says, we always have fakes in, but I don't want to have to get in a position to use them. Unfortunately, he had to change his mind and try it.
From the 31, the fake inside to Stewart. Flutie looks into the end zone for Williams. Incomplete, penalty flag. Holland on Williams, and that produces a penalty call.
Forward pass interference. Edmonton number 17 in the end zone. First down.
When you get the matchups that you want, Williams against Holland. Holland goes up high. The left hand is around the neck of Tyrone Williams, drags it down. Clearly interference in the end zone. Good play, good call by Doug Flutie. First and goal on the 1-yard line.
Danielson lines up wide to the left. Flutie tucks in behind the center. Jamie Crysdale gives the ball to Stewart for the touchdown. There is a penalty flag on the play as well. Let's wait for the interpretation from the referee, John Ireland.
Edmonton, decline, touchdown.
Offside Edmonton, trying to encroach upon that neutral zone, trying to get at least an opportunity to shoot the gap and make something happen. They're called and flagged.
Well, Ron Lancaster, as you said, Kep, suggested he didn't want to get into a shootout with the Stampeders. He finds himself now trailing by a score of 26-4, with Mark McLaughlin looking for the point after, and he is now going to have to take even more chances in the final 3:02 of the first half and the second half of this Northern Division final.
This has certainly been a team, the Calgary Stampeders, that will not let you run against them, that also will not let you pass against them.
3:02 is the time remaining in the half. Tony Stewart with his second touchdown of the day as the Stampeders move into a 27-4 lead. I think we may have had a hint of what type of day this was going to be when the Stampeders took the ball in their first possession and moved the length of the field, 81 yards for a major score. Here's Blunt having some difficulties picking up the kickoff, trying to get to the outside. And it's Kellogg over on the far side of the field that makes the tackle at the 35-yard line.
After a return of 25 yards.
Here's a touchdown to Calgary Stampeders. Great surge off that left side. Chronopoulos beaten. Also, Marvin Pope lines up in there. Tony Stewart, his second rushing touchdown of this game.
Well, when you look back at this football game, there may be a couple of key moments. Wilkerson dropping a potential end zone interception, offside on the field goal attempt, and then the third down gamble, where the catch was made on the throw from Harper to Brown, but he was out of bounds, and Calgary came right back with a touchdown. Now it's 2nd and 10 for the Eskimos.
And these are the kind of situations that a Calgary defense wants to get you in. I personally don't think that the Edmonton Eskimos are the kind of come-from-behind football club. They are good front runners. They like to get out there, and if they've got a lead, but to be able to come back from 27-4 when they have had no success offensively, it is going to be a long road.
So far, the Calgary defense has shut down Kerwin Bell. They get to him again. The ball comes loose, and it looked like Hendrickson was able to recover after Will Johnson stripped it away from quarterback Kerwin Bell. He may have had some help from Marvin Pope.
On its 3rd and 14.
Tough defense, as I said. These guys know he's going to line up in between the tackle. Great push upfield by Big Daddy Marvin Pope. Stu Laird playing great. You can see how when Kerwin Bell hits the ground, the helmet almost flies off. Craig Henderson, very fortunate to come up with the recovery.
2:35 remaining in the first half. 27-4. And this is not at all the way most people anticipated this football game would develop. Taken by Vaughn back at the 35-yard line, and a beautiful third down punt by Harper. He brings it back to the 43. A punt of 44 yards, 8 yards on the return. 1st and 10 for the Stampeders. They are scrimmaging from their own 42-yard line. Coleman in the game as a receiver, and Flutie throws to Coleman, and he is caught by Darian Hagan at the 40-yard line, trying to set up the hitch screen to Marvin Coleman, a bit of a new wrinkle for the Stampeders.
Using all the weapons, and take a look. These are the guys right now that have been really a key element of the success of the Calgary offense. Protecting Doug Flutie and also opening the holes for Tony Stewart. Tony Marciano, first-year coach of this offensive line. These guys are tough. These guys are physical. They just like to mix it up with you.
And they suffered a huge blow early in the year when Bruce Covington went down, but Bruce Beaton was able to step in and do the job.
Bruce Beaton has stepped in and done a great job. Bruce Covington is the guy. I had a chance to talk with him right before the game. That right shoulder where he had a complete tear of the bicep and the tendons in the shoulder area. He's starting to get some strength back in it, starting to work out. He says, you know something, I can't wait to get back with these guys next year. It's going to be tough.
He was also saying, if they go to Regina, he said, I'd like to be there with them. He said, I might even try and suit up. Flutie steps up, decides to run it himself. Gets a block from Vaughn and is able to take it out of bounds with a first down at the Edmonton 50-yard line.
And you got to think right now, this crowd is going crazy with cheers, and they're trying, Doug Flutie must be thinking, hey, where were these guys last weekend at the end of the first half? Look at this, good protection. Excellent coverage by the Eskimo defense downfield, but here is where Doug Flutie is so valuable as a quarterback who can run the ball. Great vision, good blocks downfield to help spring him for additional yardage.
1:45 remaining in the half. First and 10 Calgary from the 50 of the Eskimos. Hand off to Stewart. He drives straight ahead for a pickup of about 3. Larry Ruck, the middle linebacker, made the stop on Tony Stewart. He's been getting more work in the last half of the season than he did in the first half of the year. Larry Ruck ranks number 2 all-time in tackles behind teammate Willie Pless. But so far, this Eskimo defensive unit has had its hands full with the 4-time outstanding player in the Canadian Football League, Doug Flutie. And make no mistake, it's been Doug Flutie's show this afternoon.
Absolutely, and I think Doug Flutie was going to make a point when he came back into this game.
Danielson makes the catch, very close to a first down at the 40-yard line.
Hit by number 4, Darius.
Lots of tension, lots of friction going on in that big line downfield. Doug Flutie gets a good vision. Danielson, again, as I said, he likes to make himself a big target. 6'4", turns fronts up to Doug Flutie. Excellent catch coming in. The Calgary offense are now in a position, 27-4. They can be very methodical, very patient, run the ball, make conservative, high percentage passes. They don't have to force anything. They've got a general right there in Doug Flutie that can call the shots.
Well, during the week, there was some debate as we see Rich Stuber, the defensive coordinator for the Eskimos, trying to develop some scheme to try and shut down Flutie. Flutie and Garcia were a flip of the coin as to which one would be the starting quarterback. Flutie keeps the ball. John Huffnagel was telling us it was going to be based on which one had the better week of preparation.
Well, I think John Huffnagel was very candid, but he was also very honest and open with us. He said at the beginning of the week, it was an open competition to see who was going to be the starting quarterback. He said through the course of the week, Doug Flutie threw the ball so extremely well that he won the starting job for today's game.
And Jeff Garcia said, I have no qualms about Doug Flutie being number 1. He said, if anybody would have told me I was going to start 9 games during the course of the year when we went to training camp, I'd have been ecstatic. The pass intended for Sapunjas, it will be 2nd and 10. But Garcia also made the comment, he said now the coaching staff in Calgary must also feel pretty confident that if Flutie does have some difficulties, I can go in and maybe do the job.
What a great closer this guy is. When he came in and played against the Edmonton Eskimos in Labor Day, he was 33 for 45, threw the ball for 546 yards, 6 touchdowns. That helps to build your confidence in your first start for the Calgary Stampeders.
Tyrone Edwards now comes into the ball game for Calgary on 2nd and 10. Flutie fakes inside, the pass to Edwards. Edwards looks for a block, gets one. There's a penalty flag in the play. Edwards will have a first down depending on the infraction.
I think we're going to have an illegal block against Bobby Pandelitas, number 69, blocking downfield. Let's listen to the call or hear it.
Holding, Calgary number 18, repeat 2nd down.
They called the holding against Alan Pitts. And the effort by Edwards, as a result, will go for naught with 33 seconds remaining in the half.
My apologies to Bobby Pandelitis for trying to make him the guilty of that flag. Alan Pitts is the man.
Well, the O-linemen say the only time we ever mention their name is when they are guilty of an infraction. Flutie with time. He dumps it off to Stampeders, and Stampeders reaches out of bounds with a pickup of about 10. Singer Mobley took him out of bounds with 26 seconds remaining in the half.
Gain of 10.
Good coverage. Singer Mobley coming in as basically their nickel back. Great speed out of Washington State. Keeps Dave Stampeders in front of him on the coverage. Makes sure that he makes a good solid tackle. Doesn't allow Sponge to be able to slide through that and pick up additional yardage for the first down.
Mobley is one of those linebackers who can drop back into coverage, and on occasion the Eskimos will have 7 defensive backs in there. This will be a 46-yard field goal attempt by Mark McLaughlin. The kick is up, and it is good as the Stampeders, with 22 seconds remaining in the half, increase their advantage to 26 points. You say nobody saw this coming. When you talk to the coaches during the week, they all thought it could come down to a final play result. It may still come to that, but right now Calgary is in control. The pass complete to Eddie Brown for a gain of about 8.
But also during our conversation with Coach Ron Lancaster, I asked him, I said, will you have a quick hook if Kerwin Bell is not getting the job done? He said, not at all. He said, this is Kerwin Bell's game to either win or lose today.
Kerwin Bell trying to get his team back into it. The pass over the middle to Michael Souls. He should have the first down. He was driven back after making the catch by Matt Finlay. 10 seconds remaining in the half. Only the 3rd first down of the game for the Eskimos. Matt Finlay is a player who is contemplating retirement at the conclusion of this season. He would like to go out with a Grey Cup ring, and the way the team has performed in this first half, he may see his dream come true. Kerwin Bell being pursued and brought down as he got to the 50-yard line on the final play of the half by Zizakovic and Johnson. It's been a tough afternoon so far for Kerwin Bell, and the Stampeders, to the delight of this crowd of close to 30,000, head to the dressing room with a 26-point lead. Scott?
All right, Don, Wally Buono's Stamps leading handily at the half. Wally, how good do you feel for your quarterback, Doug Flutie, this week, given how he played in the first half relative to the disappointment he suffered last week?
Well, I think for Doug, it's a tremendous satisfaction for him. Like I say, he's the greatest player to ever play in this league in my mind, and he had a good week of practice. When the big game was up, he's ready.
Quick comment on your defense.
They played well all year, and I'm glad today that they're continuing their play.
Wally, good luck in the second half. Thanks for your time.
Yes, we can. Hopefully conditions in Regina a week today will be as good as they are this afternoon at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Eric Blunt with a good return, bringing the ball back to the 53-yard line. The Stampeder game plan was to shut down Eric Blunt this afternoon, and so far they've succeeded, something other teams have not been able to do against number 35 since he became a regular with Edmonton on August the 27th against Ottawa. Take a look at the comparative statistics for the two quarterbacks so far this afternoon. Flutie has passed already for 205 yards.
Came out there and he's throwing the ball with a tremendous amount of confidence. It'll be a long haul back for the Edmonton Eskimos in this second half.
Kerwin Bell to Blunt. Alondra Johnson won't let Blunt go anywhere. He stops him right at the midfield stripe. Excellent coverage by AJ.
This is the kind of thing that they would like to do. Obviously, they think they can't run against him, so maybe we can get him out one-on-one against the linebacker and make a little something happen. Nothing doing, says AJ. This is a guy that is as good in the open field as anybody you want to see at making tackles.
McClanahan out, Kellogg in as an extra defensive back on this second down play. Kerwin Bell with time, swing it out to Blunt, and Kellogg makes the tackle, stops him right at the line of scrimmage for no gain. So another second down conversion for the Eskimos fails. And they'll be forced to send out the punting team again.
Matchup that we talked about, Blake Dermott against Will Johnson. Blake seems to get the upper hand on this case, but that's okay, says the Calgary defense. Threw the ball underneath the coverage. Great reaction by Kellogg. Edmonton in the punting situation.
During the course of the season, because of the offensive explosiveness of the Calgary Stampeders, the defensive unit really hasn't received the recognition due it. This is Coleman on the punt return. And Coleman made sure this time he firmly wrapped both hands around the football at the 21-yard line.
You know, you talk about some of the attention that this defense hasn't been getting, and when it did get attention, and we're probably as guilty as anybody else, probably said, well, maybe the corners are the weakest part of this whole defense, but the fact of the matter is, the Calgary defense is so tough to run against. Nobody runs against it. They're going to throw the ball more often, and as the many times you're going to throw the ball, certain things are going to happen, and sooner or later you're going to hit home run balls. They just happen to be the corners. You can take a good look at the distribution of Doug Flutie, how he is mixing that ball all the way across the board in this big aerial attack.
During the season, he went to Sapunjas most often. He's gone to him most often this afternoon. This time, he was trying to go deep to Terry Vaughn.
For the Eskimos.
With Pee Wee Smith out of the lineup, Flutie doesn't have the same speed from Tyrone Williams as he would have from Pee Wee Smith in the wideout position. So today, he's attempted to go deep twice to Terry Vaughn.
Well, I think that's the kind of thing that Doug Flutie has the luxury of. You have two people on the outside that have great speed enough that you really have to respect that. And that opens up, as long as you stretch the defense across the board, it opens up a lot of room inside for Pitts and Sapunjas to work.
How about the backup, Vince Danielson? He's not a bad receiver. Could be a starter with any other team.
He would be a starter in any other ball club in the CFL.
Flutie's in trouble being chased by Ruck, who came in on the blitz, but Stewart picked him up. Oh, what a hit Stewart put on Larry Ruck, and Sapunjas makes the catch very close to a first down. Ruck was coming on the blitz, and he was picked up by Stewart, and the pop took off the headgear.
Well, as Larry comes on the blitz, he gets in clear, wide open. Now he's going to get hit from somewhere right behind, and Stewart stands up, hits him right underneath the chin. The helmet flies up, but take a look. Hey, it doesn't knock Larry Ruck down. He doesn't miss a step, tries to keep getting after the guy. Great block by Tony Stewart as he peels back to take care of his quarterback.
Larry Ruck, a tough kid out of the Saskatoon Hilltops, in his CFL career has only missed one game. What a shot he took from Stewart. First and 10 from the 32-yard line. Handoff to Stewart. He's been doing it all this afternoon for Calgary. Blocking, running with the football. He's got another first down.
The thing that this Edmonton defense is not accustomed to is getting the ball shoved right down their throat. And Tony Stewart and this Calgary offense is doing it today. Look at Larry Ruck coming in on Jamie Crysdale. Plays on the outside shoulder, slides past the hole. Great vision by Tony Stewart. Cuts back in across the grain, picks up an additional 6 yards.
First and 10 for the Stamps. They are at their own 43-yard line. 11:38 remaining in this third quarter. Calgary leading by a score of 30-4. Stewart again gets the call, and he'll be close to another first down.
We talked to both coaches and said, where do you think this game will be decided? And he said, without a doubt, both the coaches said, up front, the offensive line that dominates today, that team will have the best opportunity to win the football game. Folks, the Calgary offensive line are dominating, and the score is 30-4 for the guys in red.
Well, it seems to be an old cliche. The game will be won in the trenches, but it is up front with this offensive line that Calgary is dominating.
Well, Ron Lancaster said for a fact, if we can't block them, it will be a long day at the office. They haven't had any success offensively. The Eskimos have. On the other hand, Calgary has had great success both offensively and defensively against this team.
And the man who devises the offensive scheme for the Calgary Stampeders is John Hufnagel. A lot of rumors in Calgary over the past couple of days. Some suggestions that if Calgary did not win this game, Wally Buono might not be retained as head coach and general manager, and that John Hufnagel could be moved upstairs into the head coaching role. Right now, Hufnagel's only concern is putting together the game plan that will take the team to the Grey Cup. They have a first down from the 54-yard line. Stewart has already carried 12 times for 58 yards. The ball comes loose, and the Eskimos have recovered. Trent Brown, the safety, picks it up.
Fumble the football.
Stewart had been running so well and playing so strongly for the Stampeders, but his turnover gives the Edmonton Eskimos some life at their own 51. 30,891 at McMahon Stadium have seen Tony Stewart score 2 touchdowns this afternoon. On his most recent carry, he fumbled the football when hit by Hunter.
Counter trapped in, and he's going to come back. Hold right there. The ball is going to be right underneath here. Gets cleared. Malvin Hunter strips it loose. Trent Brown comes up with the play. The Edmonton defense aren't able to stop the Calgary offense. The Calgary offense ends up stopping themselves.
Vargas in at quarterback. He throws into the flat for Blunt. Blunt makes the first man miss and then is brought down by Coleman. Well, Dan, you were right with Kerwin Bell struggling through the first half. Ron Lancaster has decided to go to Chris Vargas.
Well, the youngster has really matured a lot. You used that word in the earlier part of this broadcast. He is a guy that has come along extremely well. He knows his position. He plays within himself, and he is responsible to take exactly what the defense will give you. Today, it's going to be tough to find anything that this Calgary defense may give you.
Well, they're not going to give Blunt the first down. It was 2nd and 2 Edmonton, and they stopped him.
Well, at this point of the game, I don't think there's any doubt. Ron Lancaster needs to go for it. He needs to get some momentum swing back onto the side of the green and goal, and this is where the true challenge comes up. Offensive line again against defensive line. There's man against man. Who's going to whip who in the trenches?
This is what the Calgary Stampeders have done to some of the outstanding running backs in the Canadian Football League this season. Or what some of these outstanding backs haven't been able to do might be more appropriate against Calgary.
I think it goes to the first way you said it. This Calgary defense takes it away from you, and it makes you not want to be able to run the ball against them. They hurt you, they punish you, they pursue to the ball better than anybody in this league.
McClanahan said his dream is to win a Grey Cup ring because when he goes home at Christmas, he has so many family members who have had success playing in the National Football League. He wants to be able to show off a CFL ring. The 3rd down gamble for Edmonton. It's going to be close, but the forward progress should provide the Eskimos with a first down. That was when you still had straight fingers.
And it was a direct snap to me, and I carried the ball about 67 yards before I ran out of wind. Took a knee. Very smart defensive play. We send the offense back out there. The defense goes on the side and gets the rest of the while. If I was to score, we would have had to run down on the kickoff and play defense.
1st and 10 from the 49. Vargas operating out of the shotgun. Vargas is throwing deep. Coleman is going to intercept. Coleman had 2 interception returns for touchdowns against Hamilton, and here's Coleman looking for some blocks. Blunt trips him up at the 23-yard line. Marvin Coleman set a CFL record in the playoffs last week, and he eliminates an Edmonton Eskimo drive with his 3rd postseason theft.
Here's Coleman right here, and this is Kenton Leonard. There's double coverage. They tried to split the seam in between. The ball is hung up in the air. Coleman makes a great adjustment to the football, picks off the pass, and then guys know once this guy gets his hands on the ball, I throw a block, he can take it all the way back to the house if he can, like he did against Hamilton last week twice.
7:44 remaining in the 3rd quarter. The Stampeders in the first half came away with points on every possession. Flutie fakes, but he can't escape Tony Woods. He catches him from behind for a loss back at the 20-yard line.
Number 91, Tony Woods.
Now, this time I may say something that people won't agree with, but it's 30-4 right now. to this point, Doug Flutie has proved everything that he has to prove, I think, through the course of this game. It may be an idea to think about getting Jeff Garcia in, let him play some in the second half, because he needs that playoff experience just as much as Doug Flutie does.
Well, he needs some playoff experience, but I'm not totally convinced Wally Bronner feels he has this one under wraps.
Well, I don't think you can right now.
Here's Mobley after Flutie. Flutie with his escapability. Got away, spins, will be close to a first down.
I would love to know the thoughts that are going through Doug Flutie's mind right now as he gets a standing ovation from everybody in McMahon Stadium. Mobley has a chance to get him. He cuts him back inside. He does exactly what he's supposed to do, back into the pursuit. But the great speed, and the word that you use, escapability of Doug Flutie allows him to use that speed. Gets outside around Larry Ruck, leaves Robert Holland laying down on the ground, and then picks up the first down on his own.
Well, fans can be very fickle. And this afternoon, 30,000 plus are cheering Doug Flutie, and they are also cheering Tony Stewart as he picks up another Calgary first down. These two teams were two of the toughest to run against all season. Calgary has shut down the Edmonton ground game, but the Eskimos are having difficulties trying to contain Tony Stewart.
At the point of attack, again, we got to go back to the offensive line of the Calgary Stampeders. They are winning at every matchup that they have to give Doug Flutie, Tony Stewart, the receivers, everybody the best opportunity to show their wares today. That's Pete Laverato, an old ex-teammate of mine, who coaches the defensive line for the Edmonton Eskimos. He is a rookie coach his first year and has done a great job since coming back from California, where he was for 10 years.
On the first down play, it is Edwards who came into the ball game, and he picks up a first down. Edwards saw limited service during the course of the year, and because of the injury to Pee Wee Smith, he became the team DI for this game.
He really did. He had only carried the ball 4 times for 39 yards before coming into this game. Edmonton widening out that defensive line, opening up huge holes in the middle, and Tyrone Edwards making no mistake about great vision and sight of getting the ball up the field.
Flutie looks into the flat. The catch is made by Williams, but he was out of bounds. 4:25 is the time remaining in the third quarter. You know, we talked about Doug Flutie and what he has done this afternoon. He took on the responsibility for the team's poor performance in the first half last week. He said, as a professional, that is the worst game I have ever played. He said, when I was playing at Boston College, he said, I had a similar game in the first half where I threw 4 interceptions, but he said, I came back in the second half and put together a winning touchdown drive of 85 yards against Temple. Here's the blitz. Rogers coming from the backside. He was picked up. Flutie throws, completing the pass to Vaughn, and Vaughn has a first down to the 30-yard line. Stewart with another key block, picking up the blitz.
Glenn Rogers Jr. came on the halfback blitz from the bottom of your screen. Right here he is. Great shot at Doug Flutie, but this is the man, Tony Stewart, who peels back, makes the block, and saves his quarterback again, is Tony Stewart.
Back to the live action, 1st and 10 from the 31-yard line. 3 receivers wide to the left. Stewart, the ball carrier, nowhere to go. He is stopped at the 30-yard line. And that's something the Eskimos haven't been able to do very often this afternoon.
Good pursuit down the line of scrimmage. Leroy Blue, Willie Pless, everybody getting in their lane, shutting it down. And that is the kind of defense, when you draw it up on a piece of paper, that's the way it's supposed to look on the field. Today, the Calgary Stampeders have thrown a big monkey wrench in the way that people draw up the defensive schemes. They've been able to block, and they've been able to dominate when they were blocking.
This time, Flutie sends 3 receivers wide to the right. He steps back into the shotgun. Flutie with time, throws low over the middle, incomplete. He was looking for Danielson. How many times this year have we seen in key second down situations Danielson come into the ball game, and that's the receiver Flutie picks up?
Well, Vinny had come in. That's the nickname Danielson. Vince, when he came in when Dave Sapunjas was hurt with the broken collarbone last year, and really won the respect of Doug Flutie to be a kind of guy that can be the go-to guy in a crucial situation. Sure hands. He's not real fast. He doesn't have blinding speed, but he's got the kind of moxie that gets him open to an open area. Doug Flutie has been very fortunate to find him a lot of times.
McLaughlin has been perfect as a field goal kicker this afternoon. This try from 37 yards out. The kick is up. And he's 4 for 4 as the Stampeders move into a 33-4 lead with 2:07 left in the third quarter. You know, over the years at CBC Sports, we have had the good fortune of having some outstanding people working behind the scenes, and one of the best is our Chiron operator, Phil Carmichael. Phil is going to be leaving us, unfortunately, but we would like to wish him all the best as he moves on to his new career, a position with Chiron. He's going to be with us next week, Kep, at the Grey Cup in Regina. I think he'll finally take us out to dinner.
I would hope he so. That guy, I've never seen him make money last so long. After 13 years. Good luck, Phil.
Blunt on the kickoff return. And the outstanding back for the Edmonton Eskimos provides the team with great field position. We talked about the record established by Marvin Coleman last week, and his end zone theft of Chris Vargas snuffed out a potential Eskimo scoring drive.
We talked about the corners of the Calgary Stampeders, and they may be a little weak. I played with a guy named Larry Highball, was a corner like that. He kept throwing it in front of him, but sooner or later, boom, it was going back the other way for 6 points. He would bait you, just as Marvin Coleman did last week.
Vargas was looking for Blunt. I think he may have been hit just as he threw the football, and that ball kind of fluttered towards the sidelines. Will Johnson and Marvin Pope were putting pressure on him. You know, you talked about Larry Highbaugh, Dan. People have compared Coleman to Larry Highbaugh.
Will Johnson, great speed rush upfield against Chris Morris. Decks Chris Vargas just as he's releasing the ball.
Baker goes wide to the left. Just once in a second down conversion have the Eskimos succeeded this afternoon. Penalty flag in the play. Stu Laird, the veteran, deflected the throw at the line of scrimmage.
Edmonton number 50, decline, third down.
So again, the Eskimos fail on a second down conversion try.
Big Daddy Marvin Pope does that speed read, arm under, gets on the outside. Blake Dermott gets called for the holding. Marvin Pope reminds me again, I keep talking about some of my old teammates.
And with justification.
James Quick Parker, you'd line him up outside and you just say, he's coming. The problem is you have to figure out how to block him. And if you can't block him, then you have to hold him just the way Blake Dermott did.
Yes, that was quite a dynasty, the Edmonton Eskimos, 5 consecutive Grey Cups, and that is the last time that a team has been able to put together back-to-back Grey Cup championships. And of course, this year, there will be a new Grey Cup champion as the Eskimos eliminated the BC Lions in the semifinal. The kick by Harper traveled just 26 yards. You know, when we talked with Ron Lancaster, he thought his team would play pretty well this afternoon. They were coming into this one riding a 7-game winning streak, the final 6 of the regular season in their postseason win over BC, but it's been total domination by Calgary today. Flutie throws to the sidelines, and Pitts makes the catch at the 40. There's also a penalty flag in the play.
Ineligible receiver, Calgary number 18, repeat first down.
So they end up having all 3 of those receivers on the same side, all of them up on the line of scrimmage. One of them has to be back, or 2 of them have to be back in that trip sets. Alan Pitts got caught just going into that forward motion, trying to anticipate the snap count.
When was the last time we saw a football game where one team didn't punt? Martino has not punted this afternoon.
When you have a ball club that has dominated the way the Calgary Stampeders have, well, maybe Martino would maybe feel a little awkward about getting his paycheck for this game.
I doubt it.
I doubt it.
Flutie throws, the pass is complete. Danielson is going to be about 2 yards shy of a first down.
Terrific effort again. This receiving core is so in sync with Doug Flutie. When he starts to move, what they do, turn around, find some open area, run up to Doug Flutie, give him the biggest target to hit it possibly can, and Doug Flutie has been very successful game after game of making it happen.
Well, the offensive scheme of the Stampeders is also designed so that when Flutie is running around out there, rolling out of the pocket, he always seems to have receivers coming across in his line of vision. Second and a couple of yards. Hand off to Stewart. It looks as though he may have been stopped short of a first down on what should be the final play of the third quarter.
Willie Pless and Singor Mobley stepped up in the hole, and it will constitute a measurement
amongst the tacklers. Tony Woods.
And that is also the final play of the third quarter, with the Calgary Stampeders totally in control, leading by 29 points. Minutes remaining here at McMahon Stadium. The Stampeders 3rd and inches on the opening play of the fourth quarter. There are a lot of people, particularly football fans here in Calgary, who are uncertain of what success this team might have in the postseason based on their performance over the past couple of years when they were also 15-3. Movement at the line of scrimmage, and I think that it may have been an offside against Edmonton once again.
I think for the second time in a crucial situation, not nearly as crucial as the field goal, but I think it's going to be number 40, Benny Goods.
Offside. Edmonton number 40. First down.
Well, Benny Goods was guilty of the offside on a third down field goal by Calgary that led to an eventual touchdown as a result. Look at the domination statistically. 27 Calgary first downs, 14 of them coming on their opening drive. The time of possession better than double. Flutie, a sidearm throw to Vaughn, and Vaughn will have a pickup of about 5.
But when you start to see that and you worry about the surgery that Doug Flutie went through, the sidearm throw puts so much stress on the joint around the elbow, showed no ill effects at getting that ball out there quickly. Vaughn, 4 catches, 102 yards today. Last week, called 3 passes for 49 against the Hamilton Ticats. Only had 200-yard plus catches through the course of the 95 season, this being his 3rd.
Well, as we told you last week in discussing the surgery to Doug Flutie, he said he had no concerns about re-injuring the arm. He was only concerned about keeping it loose at halftime in the dressing room. Well, as it turned out, he didn't have to perform in the second half because Coach Wally Buono decided to go to Jeff Garcia in the second half of the football game after Flutie threw 4 first-half interceptions. Tony Stewart, the ball carrier, and he is going to be short of a first down. Larry Rickman was the man in the hot seat over the last couple of days.
A little controversial, wouldn't you say? A whole lot controversial.
Well, there were comments attributed to Rickman about the future of his coach. And Tony Martino is going to tell you after the game, hey, I'll get my paycheck. I had to come in and handle a punt assignment. Martino getting set for his first kick of the day. In warm-up, he only kicked the ball 5 times. He said the foot was still causing him some problems. He hurt it late in the year at Taylor Field in Regina. So not having to punt until this stage is probably a bit of a relief for Martino. The ball is fumbled, it comes loose, and Calgary claim they've got it.
No flags down, the ball hits up in Eddie Brown's chest, comes loose, and that great coverage team of the Calgary Stampeders are down there to create yet another turnover.
Turnovers and special teams, 2 words we heard often from the coaching staffs on both sides. And here's the turnover by Eddie Brown as he mishandles the Martino punt, with the Calgary Stampeders taking over from the Edmonton 32.
Mitch judged that completely, and this has just been fairly typical of what we have seen the Edmonton Eskimos do, self-destruct during the course of this game.
Williams goes wide to the left. Vaughn comes out to the right. Flutie operates from the shotgun. Now 4 receivers out to the right. Flutie goes that direction for Tony Stewart, and Stewart is surrounded and will only get about 4 yards.
Doug Flutie crosses the 30.
12:30 remaining here at McMahon Stadium, and right now for the Stampeders, those final 12 minutes can't tick away quickly enough, and what they hope will be a date with the Baltimore Stallions a week today at Taylor Field in Regina in the 83rd Grey Cup game.
Well, congratulations to Jim Sparrows and Coach Don Matthews and the whole staff, and particularly those ball players from Baltimore. They put on a show through the course of the 95 season.
How about that? Carlos Huerta, 7 field goals today, accounting for all of the Baltimore scoring in their victory. Flutie throwing into the end zone for Pitts. Jump ball, and Wilkerson was able to get a hand on it and prevent Pitts from pulling it in.
Put it up high. This is just a jump ball. 6'4" Alan Pitts against 6 foot Gary Wilkerson. Wilkerson with some panic speed, catch up, makes the close, and strips the arm down, the right arm of Alan Pitts, and is able to pull that ball loose, strip it, and save the Edmonton defense from giving up yet another touchdown.
Think about what Alan Pitts might have been able to do had he not been hurt in the 1993 season, where he only played 7 games. He could have had 5 consecutive seasons of better than 100 catches. Mark McLaughlin with a 36-yard field goal attempt. It's blocked at the line of scrimmage. And the ball laying on the sidelines is covered by Jed Roberts. Holland blocked it, and Roberts recovers with 11:24 remaining. And the Edmonton Eskimos trailing by 29 points. Well, I thought it was Holland that blocked the field goal attempt, but the replay, Dan, will show that it was Jed Roberts coming up the middle.
Jed Roberts is going to get an opportunity to make a good explosion off of the line of scrimmage. Gets up into the field, right into the middle. Check it out right here against Zizakovic. Rushes through, gets the hands up, blocks it, and recovers it.
Chris Vargas is buried by Gonzalo Floyd back at the 27-yard line.
Well, Gonzalo Floyd is one of these guys. He's kind of new to the Calgary defense. So he says, I'm going to make the sack, take my helmet off, let all these people see exactly who I am. Maybe they'll notice me and come up on the street and say hi. Gonzalo Floyd coming to the Calgary Stampeders by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Undersized for an inside defensive lineman, 6'4", about 245, but with great speed.
He ran a twist up front, and as a result was able to come clear. Now Vargas is under some pressure again. It's knocked down by Pope. How about the jumping ability of Big Daddy Marvin Pope? He saw that Vargas was cocking the arm to throw, and tell you what, his vertical was about 3 feet off the ground.
And that's 6'1", about 240, maybe 245, depending on who you talk to, getting up in the air. And that's the time when the young quarterback has to come in, set, make the throw, and get the defender up in the air, pull the ball down, and try to get around him. This time, it didn't work. Good look at Jeff Garcia, warming up on the sideline, and maybe he'll get a call to come in and get a little playing time in this fourth quarter.
Glenn Harper with his 3rd down punt. His previous kick only traveled 26 yards. This is fielded by Coleman, and I think there is going to be a no yards infraction against the Eskimos as he takes the ball to the 52.
Yeah, I think you're going to move it up another 15 yards.
So the Calgary Stampeders are within 10-18 of a trip to the Grey Cup. Well, some people might have suggested it would have been fitting had Ron Lancaster gone back to Taylor Field in a Grey Cup game as a coach, a park where he starred in for almost 2 decades as a player. But I think Ron Lancaster, Kemp, would be the first to admit today that his team has received a good old-fashioned butt-kicking from the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, exactly right. It was going to be either you kick their butt or they're going to kick your butt. Today, the Calgary Stampeders did that.
Well, it's not over yet, but it's been total domination by the Stampeders. Doug Flutie, with something to prove, certainly did in the 50 minutes he has played, and now Jeff Garcia will mop up. We saw Flutie in the second half last week against the Hamilton Ticats in a similar situation, not smiling the way he is today. But now he has left this one in the hands of Jeff Garcia, and all he has to do is try and avoid mistakes. Throwing over the middle, intended for Sapunjas, it's incomplete.
Pressure by Willie Pless. Doug Flutie's number through the course of this game, 21 for 30, 259. 1 touchdown, but take it luck. That's the big thing at the end. The goose egg on interceptions.
Although he has 194 career touchdown passes during regular season play, he only has 6 postseason touchdown passes. He has more interceptions in the postseason than he has touchdowns.
But Doug had only thrown 5 interceptions through the course of the whole season, and then he threw 4 in that opening semifinal game.
Second punt of the ball game for Tony Martino, and he kicks this one into the end zone, and a single point will be conceded by Eddie Brown.
50-yard punt single.
In 1992, when Calgary won the Grey Cup, they defeated the #1 team in the East, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Since 1983, only 3 times have the top 2 teams, East and West, met in the Grey Cup. Now the realignment has a north-south matchup, but it is the top team from the south, the 15-3 Baltimore Stallions, and it looks as though it will be the 15-3 Calgary Stampeders as the opposition. Vargas couldn't find a receiver and couldn't find any room to run. Alondra Johnson was the man who was pressuring him. Calgary 13-5 against the 11-7 Winnipeg Blue Bombers in 1992. And Doug Flutie was the star of that matchup at the Sky Dome in Toronto. And Doug Flutie has been the star this afternoon at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. He's had a pretty good supporting cast, however. Intended for Eddie Brown. He had his hands on it briefly, but couldn't pull it down.
Protection trying to take Eddie Brown deep on the post corner, but take a look at how well Greg Knox, the safety, plays this ball. He's got help on the outside, help to the inside by Gerald Vaughn and also Al Jordner all around that ball. This is a ball-hawking defense that get around. Talk about defensive players. Defensive players are not passive. They're aggressive. There's a defensive coach and a linebacker coach and head coach Wally Bono that played a very aggressive style of defense himself.
Third down punt by Harper. Coleman takes it at the 27-yard line. And he brings it back to the 37, where Calgary will scrimmage 1st and 10 with 7:42 remaining.
Well in control of this North final. Last year, BC was here to face the Stampeders in the final. 5 seconds to go. Calgary in front, 36-30. McManus to Darren Flutie. The touchdown sent the Lions to the Grey Cup in a date with Baltimore, and they won it all. Kent, there is drama in this game today, this North final, but it's all on one side.
Yeah, unfortunately for Edmonton, they ran into a team that was extremely well prepared and a quarterback that obviously wanted to make a big statement today in Flutie.
Don?
I think think the only thing better for the Stampeders today would have been to avenge the loss to the BC Lions in the Northern Division final, but they have an opportunity to avenge the loss 2 years ago to these same Edmonton Eskimos in the final when they were also 15-3. And they've done it in style.
They really have. It was convincingly. It's not where it's one or two plays that could have turned the outcome of this game all the way around. They have dominated from the first moment that the red team machine touched the football.
Wally Buono freely substituting now. Reed is into the ball game. Edwards is in, replacing Tony Stewart. Edwards, the ball carrier, on second down. It was 2nd and 9 for Calgary. Penalty flags fly. The emotions running very high in this Battle of Alberta, and perhaps certain things being said and things happening down in the field right now.
Well, there's a lot of things being said, none of which we can repeat on air. But again, it's the big boys up front that get involved and start pushing and shoving around. Drysdale, Denny Chronopoulos, Bobby Pandelitas, Rocco Romano, and Bruce
Major
Beaton.
foul, unnecessary roughness. Calgary number 69, 3rd down.
Well, Bobby Pandelitas is the guy who was involved and charged with the rough play.
And I read a little bit on the bio. This guy is an artist. He does watercolors. You know, I can imagine what he does. He maybe just takes it and throws the paint on the canvas. But he takes his shot and he just nails Robert Holland in the back, knocks him down.
Well, he took a bit of a beating last week in the late stages of the game from Mike Campbell at Hamilton.
Well, when you get to this point and you're getting, as you said, your butt kicks as bad as is happening, if you can't win the battle overall, win a fight somewhere along the way.
Pressure up the middle as Martino gets away a beauty. Brown goes all the way back to his own 25-yard line. 6:23 remaining. A 58-yard kick, 4 yards on the return.
You just can't say enough about that guy right there, Dave Sapunjas. Alan Pitts, along with Terry Vaughn this year, 3 receivers with 1,000 yards or more. The same thing happened in '92 with Pitts, Sapunjas, and also Carl Bland, and in '93, and guess who? Sponge, Will Moore, and Derek Crawford. This has been a team that has lived by the pass, and they are going to take it again by the pass and the run today.
By the way, Tony Stewart has been running today. I'm sure that Don Matthews is going to be making notes. The ball comes loose. Sandusky fumbled. It was picked up by Blunt, and he saves it for the Edmonton Eskimos. The first time today that they've been able to get the ball into the hands of Jim Sandusky.
Take a look at Alan Pitts right there. 8 100-yard games in '95. He's had 70 TD receptions. The first in the CFL, Brian Kelly with 97. 41 100-yard plus games in his career. Just a magnificent athlete.
Hall of Fame credentials, if ever an athlete had them. I'm not so sure that Sandusky might not have been attempting to pitch that ball out to Blunt. Oh, what a punishing hit put on Shalon Baker. You know, this 5'5" outstanding rookie takes a beating and hangs in there. He took a tremendous hit last week from Enos Jackson.
Well, just think of what we just did in the past 2 plays that happened. You mentioned Shalon Baker and then also Jim Sandusky. The first time that we have talked about those guys through the course of this whole game, the first 2 passes thrown in their vicinity.
It's Sandusky on the sidelines.
Jim Sandusky, number 7, makes the catch on the sidelines.
Sandusky last week against BC in the semifinal caught 4 passes for 99 yards, his most productive game of the year.
Well, you know, when you take out both of the wide receivers, and now Edmonton was playing 10-man football against the 12-man Calgary defense right now, Edmonton may need 14 or 15 guys to try to beat this defense today.
5 minutes remaining. 1st and 10 for Edmonton from the 53-yard line. Vargas was looking for Sandusky. McClanahan was defending against him.
Coach Wally Bono just cannot speak enough about that young rookie linebacker that you see. Anthony McClanahan, 6'2", 222. He's only 24 years old out of Washington State. pure athletic ability. He can run, he can chase, he tackles, he can just keep going and keep going. The only thing that makes him any different than some of those guys he's playing with right there, he just hasn't had an opportunity to gain the experience. Once he gets that playing experience, look out, fellas. This is going to be a guy you'll hear from in the future of the CFL.
Vargas rolls to his right, throws back over the middle, nowhere near the intended receiver, Shalon Baker. And the Eskimos will be forced to kick again. You know, the Eskimos over the years have been the dominant team in the Canadian Football League.
I said at being at 34-4 right now, instead of kicking the ball, let's make an effort for it. See if Edmonton has an opportunity to try to keep possession. At this point, 34-4, or if it goes to 41-4,
what difference does it make?
It's not a bad, not any difference whatsoever.
Well, Vargas had started off to the bench, and Ron Lancaster said, stay in there. A third down gamble with 4:11 remaining.
Look out.
Oh, he is buried by Big Daddy Marvin Pope. Pope and Johnson have been in the face of the two quarterbacks, whether it was the starter Kerwin Bell or his replacement Chris Vargas, most of the afternoon.
Big Daddy Marvin Pope came into this game 13 sacks out of Wilberforce, Ohio. Has made a great adjustment coming out from being a middle linebacker to being a rush-in. It allows the Calgary defense to do so many different things. They can put him into coverage. They can rush him as they just did. And when they do rush him, man, is he effective.
Well, Hugh Campbell has to be pleased with what his team has achieved this year, because at the start of the season, many of the pundits did not think that the Edmonton Eskimos would even make the postseason, let alone get to the North Division final. Danielson on the receiving end of the throw. You know, you talked about Marvin Pope being moved to the rush end position. When we talk with coaches around the league, they all say, we wish Calgary had left him.
I think so. He's a little better and a little easier to block as a middle linebacker, particularly if they can get him out of the way and you can get him into coverage somewhere. This man is aggressive. He gives you 200% every time he gets up and lines up on the ball. And when he gets there in the back and he makes a meeting at the quarterback, he makes the quarterbacks pay a price.
On second down, Garcia gives to Edwards, and Edwards, trying to get a first down, might just have it. As he went a lot wider than the play was designed, Willie Pless and Mobley tracked him down.
39 on the tackle.
Edmonton did a good job of sealing it all off inside, forcing Edwards to have to go north and south with it.
We've had, a great afternoon of football here.
2:48 is the time remaining, and the Stampeders are bound for a date with Baltimore. And this week, Stu Laird had cards made up for his teammates with a picture of the Grey Cup and the championship rings the team received in 1992. And he said, let's do it again. You know, I think he had already booked time off from his job as a Calgary fireman for next week, so he didn't want to waste the time off.
Roll the clock!
I think now you can hear him yelling, roll the clock, let's get this over with. There's been rumors about Stu, whether this could be his last season, his last year here. He had some knee injury earlier. He may have to have a scope done on his knee. He had a torn ligament in his foot. He missed a part of last week's game. But this is a guy that if he's going to go out, he wants to go out on top.
Tony Stewart had to come back into the ball game because Edwards was shaken up, and Stewart was looking for a first down with 2:17 remaining. You know, Stewart has run the ball very well today, but I think Doug Flutie, after the game, might be saying to him, thanks, Tony, you saved my life with two tremendous blocks during the course of this game. One on a blitz by Glenn Rogers, and the other with Larry Ruck coming up the middle.
And what a shot he gave Larry Ruck. Larry Ruck just shows you again, Tony Stewart was a man to stand up there and hit Larry the way he did, but Larry was even a bigger man for standing in there and taking that shot under the chin, helmet flying off, and keeping his balance and staying on his feet.
Flutie will come in to pin the ball for Mark McLaughlin as he attempts a 36-yard field goal. The last time Jed Roberts got to it, this time McLaughlin puts it through.
The Calgary Stampeders
37-4, the Calgary Stampeders. the most dominant game between these two Alberta rivals in a championship game. There's Pee Wee Smith. Was doing that as the team came off the field from its pregame warm-up, and he's on the bench again.
Well, he couldn't play today, but he is one big reason why the Calgary Stampeders are in this position.
Well, Marvin Pope had a sack. Will Johnson gets a sack, and the two rush and celebrate. Eskimo fans remember Pee Wee Smith from another picture where he caught a pass to win a football game in Edmonton and went right into the locker room, right through the end zone.
Commonwealth Stadium, 1992. Right through there, Danny Barrett, the quarterback, and Pee Wee, as you said, man, right through the end zone, right into the locker room.
Second and 20. For Shalon Baker. McClanahan tracks him down and gets some help from the safety, Greg Knox.
There's been a lot of highlights in the Edmonton Eskimo season in 1995, but Shalon Baker with 79 catches, 1,156 yards, 5 touchdowns, has been just a real highlight point for the Edmonton offense.
5'5", walk tall, think big is his motto. Was defending against Baker, came very close to picking it off, and again Vargas was under tremendous pressure. Stu Laird and Will Johnson were both coming in on him.
Baker was coming down and wanted to make the cut. As soon as he did, he stumbled and fell down. Coleman did not, made a good break on the ball.
Well, Dan, as a player, when you're on the losing end of a whipping like this, 37-4, these must be the longest seconds that you can possibly go through.
Well,
you never had that experience.
Well, I can one time that I remember from losing, and it was the '77 Grey Cup when Montreal beat us 41-6. We only proceeded the next year to come back with more force, and we won 5 Grey Cups in a row. Losing, if it doesn't kill you, it'll make you stronger. And today, I think maybe the Edmonton Eskimos would get a little stronger. The Calgary Stampeders were strong coming into this game.
And the guy on the sidelines we just caught a glimpse of, Wally Buono, constantly reminds you about that 77 game.
He does. He doesn't want to be too much about it, but he has the occasion to force feed it right down my throat every time. And also, a comrade of ours, Chris Cuthbert, mentions it to me all the time, too. Kind of like chikung with the staple guns going into the shoes. Wally and his family, I mean, he's a great family man. He has his sons, his daughters, everybody's hanging around there, and they are part of this organization. This is a big family.
Nick Mazzoli has a first down as he takes the ball down to the 47 of the Stampeders with 1:07 remaining. Well, the Edmonton Eskimos may not have been up to the task this day at McMahon Stadium in Calgary, but they've put together a pretty solid team that next year might do even better. It's Mazzoli again taking it to the 25-yard line for another Calgary first down, or Edmonton first down.
Dave Sapunjas on the sideline, and I happened to go by when I was in Coach John Huffnagel's office today. A little thing written on the blackboard said, if we win today, we walk together forever. And this is part of being in this fraternity of the professional athlete and being a Calgary Stampeder.
Mazzoli again, this time wrapped up by Coleman. Well, the Calgary defensive unit has kept the Edmonton Eskimos out of the end zone. And I would think right now, and you can probably verify this, that Calgary defensive unit is thinking, we don't want to let them get a touchdown.
Oh, no, we played this game for 59 minutes. Let's play it 60. We have kept them out of the house this long. Let's do not let them score a touchdown.
Coleman knocks knocks it down at the goal line. He thought he should have had an interception. It was intended for Mazzoli.
And he should have. It was just a great defensive play by Kenton Leonard, the halfback that knocked it and jarred it loose on his own hand. Good luck again. There he is. The defensive brains of this team, Frank Spaziani. That's it. Eat him up. That's what it is. Put the jaws on him.
You know, you look back at turning points in this game, and when the Edmonton Eskimos recovered the fumble by Coleman on the 8-yard line and were unable to get into the end zone, that may have been the ball game as far as Edmonton was concerned. Vargas throwing into the end zone, incomplete. It was over the head of Baker, and Kenton Leonard was back defending. He and Coleman were both deep in the end zone with 32 seconds remaining.
I don't think Kenton Leonard may not get an easier pass to intercept than that one. He just got vertical way too soon, and the ball sailed over his head. Doug Flutie, solid look at him. Great performance today. A man that came out, didn't do a lot of talking, didn't cry about any of the treatment that he got last week. He just came out and he made it right.
What a story this has been. Doug Flutie having surgery on the 5th of September. People thought his season was over. But Flutie was optimistic that he could come back. And he came back for the final game in Toronto against the Argos, and then started in the semifinal against Hamilton.
They talk about it's not the players in the game that win, it's the competitor within the players. And then within Doug Flutie, you will not find a greater, more focused competitor than that man right there.
Sapunges with the CBC hat on.
Atta baby, Dougie.
He's just unhappy because he didn't get one.
We will go to no expense. We will spare nothing to make sure that we treat the players right.
Well, it's been a great afternoon for the Calgary Stampeders. They've had some memories to erase from the last couple of years when they also posted 15 and 3 seasons, only to lose the final here at McMahon Stadium to Edmonton in '93 and to BC last year.
They say ye of little faith. The Calgary Stampeders have gotten the monkey off their back.
37-4. Calgary wins it to go to the Grey Cup a week today against the Baltimore Stallions. Somewhere down on field level, let's try and find Scott O.
All right, Doug Flutie just receiving congratulations from the Edmonton Eskimos, who respect him in victory today. Doug, did you make a statement today?
I wasn't trying to make a statement. I just was glad to have the opportunity to get back out and redeem myself for what happened last week. Thank Jeff and the guys for getting us here and giving me that opportunity.
Kerwin Bell wants to congratulate you. Tough day it was for Kerwin Bell, and it was Doug Flutie's day to shine. Doug, when did you know you were going to start? And come clean on this one.
I honestly knew early in the week because of something Huff told me, but we never really came out and made the statement. But I knew in my heart, John Huff, Nagel, Wally Buono believe in me, and you know, there's nothing that I can do to shake that belief. So I knew all along I would start.
Were you bent on redemption today after what happened in the first half last week here, and the boos you heard and how much they hurt you?
Oh, that hurts, you know, and it's frustrating, and you want to redeem yourself and show them, hey, I'm still the same Doug Flutie that they've been watching for 4 years. I think the extra week really helped my arm come around. I drew some nice deep balls this week, and the extra week might have made a difference.
How about this story? You weren't supposed to be back till next season. You come back about, what, 6 months earlier than you should have?
Yeah, that's just a great feeling. And Patty Clayton, our trainer, Dr. Job, and the job he did, he must have just done the best possible job to allow it to come around as quickly as it did.
How did it feel today?
It felt real good. I came out kind of second half, it got stiff, and I asked Huff, you know, as soon as this game's secured, get me out so I can rest it. But if I had to, I could have finished the game.
I got to say that there must have been, I'll show you guys, something of that in the game today, because you said to me yesterday, I'm sick and tired of how everybody shows me standing by the heaters with my frozen hands in '93. They don't talk about the great games I played, and this was one today.
Right, you know, they could just as easily show the great win we had in '92 in cold weather, in wind. But everybody likes to harp on the negative things, and
we just keep plugging along. We've been to this game every year. We've gotten to the Grey Cup 2 out of 4 years. I mean, you're not going to get it every year.
Congratulations. Thanks for your time. Enjoy this victory. We'll see you in Regina.
Excellent.
All right, here's Dave Sapunjas, who I think, I'm not sure about this, might have had the only touchdown catch of the day, didn't you?
I don't know, Scott. I wasn't keeping the stats, but
how's it feel?
It's a great victory. I really believe this team truly deserves it for the last 3 years and the heartbreaks we went through, and to have Doug come back and play such a great game was such an inspiration for us.
Yeah, we're just looking at this touchdown, and I am told the 4-yard catch was the only touchdown catch of the day by the Stampeders. That says something, I guess, in a lopsided victory like this. You had a lot of other stuff going for you.
Well, we moved the ball extremely well offensively, especially on the ground, and Doug found guys when he had to. They had a few PI penalties, and we played great offensively and played super defensively.
Dave, you were very vocal during the season about how we don't get to the Grey Cup this year. It's going to be an absolute disaster. We must redeem ourselves for what's happened in each of the last 2 years. In light of that, how does this feel now?
It's absolutely wonderful. Like I said, we really do deserve it. If we didn't go, it would have been a huge disappointment. And we prepared so well over the last couple of weeks to get there, and finally we're going back.
How are you set up now for the game next week against Baltimore at Taylor Field?
I'm going to look at it tomorrow. I'm going to have some fun tonight and enjoy it, but obviously Baltimore is a great ground attack. We have to stop Pringle like we stopped Lund today, and things will happen.
But great, I think it is, isn't it, to go into a Grey Cup game firing on all offensive cylinders like this team was today?
Oh, for sure. I mean, to have Flutie back and play the way he has is great, and then to have a guy like Garcia being able to come off the bench, and the other guys around him are playing so well. It'll be a great matchup next week, Scott.
All right, Dave, thanks for your time. We'll see you in Regina as well, along with 36 other guys from the Calgary Stampeders. 37-4 the final, Don.
Well, Scott, the marquee will read Doug Flutie and the Calgary Stampeders, but the supporting cast played as big a role today in carrying the Stamps to the Grey Cup next Sunday.